Have you ever been scrolling on your phone, opened an app, and just thought, how in the world did they build this? If you've been curious about coding but maybe thought it was way too complicated, you're in for a really pleasant surprise. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on programming by taking our first steps with Java. It's a language that's not just incredibly powerful, but honestly, it's a fantastic starting point for anyone. All right, let's dive right in. So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off by figuring out why Java is such a great place to start. Then, we're actually going to write our very first program together. After that, we'll break down the essential pieces that make it all tick, see how to make our code do smart things, and I'll even walk you through how to get everything set up on your own computer. And we'll wrap it all up by dreaming a little about the amazing things you'll be able to create. You know, there are literally hundreds of programming languages out there. So the big question is, why does Java always come up as a top recommendation for beginners? Let's get into what makes it such a perfect launchpad for your whole coding journey. Okay, let's break these 4 things down, because they're a really big deal. First, platform independence. This just means you write your code once and it can run pretty much anywhere, on a Mac, a PC, a Linux machine, you name it. It all works because of something called the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM, which is like a universal translator for your code. It's also object-oriented, which is just a fancy way of saying it's really good at keeping complex programs organized into simple, reusable parts. Then you've got the rich API. Think of this as a giant toolbox filled with pre-made code, so you don't have to build everything from scratch. And finally, and this is so important, community support. If you ever get stuck, there is a massive global community of people ready to help you out. And now, for a moment every single programmer remembers, writing their first Hello World program. It might seem simple, but it's a huge first step. We're going to build it together, piece by piece, so you understand exactly what's going on. So every Java program lives inside a class. The easiest way to think about it is like a container, or maybe a recipe. The class, in this case, Hello World, is the name of our recipe. Everything else we write is going to be the ingredients and instructions that go inside. All right, now that we have our recipe container, we need to tell the chef where to start cooking. That's exactly what the main method does. This specific line tells Java, hey, start right here. It's the official entry point for the whole program. And there it is, the magic line. System.out.println is basically a command from Java's library that tells the computer to print whatever you put inside the parentheses right onto the screen. And just like that, you're looking at a complete, working Java program. See? Not so scary. So we just saw what to write, but now let's dig into the how and the why. We're going to take a closer look at the core ideas that make every Java program work, starting with that class concept we just used. So what exactly is a class? Well, the best analogy is a blueprint for a house. The blueprint itself isn't a house, right? You can't live in it. But it defines everything about the house, how many rooms, where the doors are, all of it. A class in Java is that blueprint. And here's a perfect example. We have a blueprint called car. Our blueprint says that any car we create from it is going to have some data, like a color and a year, and it's also going to have some behaviors, which we call methods, like the ability to display details. Now, to store that data, like the car's color, we use something called a variable. Just think of a variable as a little labeled box. You give the box a name, and you can put information inside it, you can check what's inside it, and you can swap it out for something new whenever you need to. Now, one thing about Java is that it likes its boxes to be very specific. Every variable has to have a data type, which just tells Java what kind of information it's allowed to hold. So an int holds whole numbers, a string holds text, and a Boolean can only hold a simple true or false. This might seem a little strict, but it's great for preventing mistakes and keeping our code nice and organized. Okay, we know how to store information, but the real magic of programming happens when we can make decisions and repeat actions. This is where we get into logic and control flow, which is what turns our simple scripts into smart, useful tools. A super common thing you'll need to do is repeat an action over and over, and for that, we use loops. Check out how both of these loops do the exact same thing. They count from 0 to 4. The for loop is your best friend when you know exactly how many times you need to repeat something. The while loop is a bit more flexible. It'll just keep going as long as a certain condition is true. So let's put these ideas together. Imagine a simple program that asks you for a number. It then stores that number in a variable and uses a for loop to add up all the numbers from 1 all the way to the number you gave it. It's a really simple idea, but it's a perfect example of how these concepts all work together to solve a real problem. All right, you've seen the theory, you've seen some code, now it's your turn. Let's walk through the actual practical steps to get you set up and writing code on your very own computer. It's really just a simple 3-step process. First, you need to install something called the Java Development Kit, or JDK. That's the main engine. Second, you'll want to pick an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. Don't let the name scare you. Just think of it as a super smart notepad that's built specifically for writing code. It helps you write, test, and run your programs. And finally, you just fire it up, create a new project, and type in that Hello World program we just learned. You can do this. Okay, and here's a really important piece of advice. You are going to get errors, I promise. And that is not just okay, it is 100% expected. Every single programmer from day 1 to year 30 deals with errors. So please don't think of them as roadblocks. Think of them as puzzles. They're just little clues the computer gives you to help you make your code work perfectly. Okay, you now have the basic ideas and the practical first steps to start your coding journey. So let's zoom back out and remember the why. What kind of incredible things can you actually create with this skill? Well, Java is the quiet workhorse behind so much of the tech you use every single day. It powers the massive, complex systems for big websites. It's the official language for building the Android apps on your phone, and huge companies trust it for their most important mission-critical software. The career opportunities are just massive. So we've gone all the way from why you should start to how you can start, from your very first line of code to the huge possibilities that are now in front of you. The tools are ready, the path is clear.